Hello and welcome to this live presentation. We are breaking down August of 2024. I'm your astrologer, Christian Klausner, and I'm joined by...
Aubrey Nicole. I am a tarot card expert and I love helping people along their karmic timing in life with the cartomancy system, which is a combination of astrology and numerology.
Beautiful. And you're looking so lovely today, and I love the lighting. It's so bright. It makes me look dark over here.
Thank you. You don't look that you look great. I think you look great and all lit up, just like the sun, just like you always do.
Well, it is my season. It's my birth season, so I'm very excited to talk about Leo and the fifth house and what it represents in the chart. And then we will get to the tarot cards. We'll see what tarot cards resonate with this energy. So excited to see that. And then we'll hop into a breakdown of the transits of August. Last month for July, it was extremely detailed. I almost went by every single day. So I won't do that this time just for the sake of brevity. I will just break down the most important transits because we have a lot to talk about with those. We have several massive transits this month, big T squares between the biggest planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus. And so we've got big things on the way with this month. We'll focus heavily on the new and full moons as well. Really cool stuff. Um, and that's how this will go. So stick around for it. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A if anybody has any questions who are here with us live. And if you would like to join these live, these are open to all. It's free. And we would love to have you here live. All you have to do is let us know. So post a comment, get involved in our newsletters, subscribe to us. You can go to mokshadestiny.com. And you can also go to christianklausner.com. You can sign up to our newsletters there. All right, let's jump into this presentation. Alrighty, so we're in the heart of summer here. That's why I got this big shining lion Mufasa looking down. This is a breakdown of August 2024 and Leo season. And this is the height of summer for us in the north. Before we get to the astronomy of it, we're back to our four types. We're now in a fire sign for the second time since the start of spring, since Aries, which is in late March and throughout April. And that's really the start of the year, astronomically and astrologically. So since that start of the year, which begins in spring, this is the second fire sign to appear, the fifth sign. And fire, again, is about that gut feeling experience where you just know that you know that you know. And it comes from within. It's an immediate knowing. And it's just like a spark of insight. So intuition is what the fire element represents in psychology. It's a gut feeling experience given without the use or medium of mental activity. And it's the source of our inspiration, our creativity, and our novel ideas. And it really works, in an intuitive way through imagery or just a sense within, which translates into a work of art, amazing painting, piece of music, something like that. So, fire and water are they're the life-giving elements. If you think about air and earth, those two elements give containment to the fire and the water. The water has to sit in a vessel, that's the earth. And the air, fire needs oxygen to light, so that's the air. So air provides the containment for the fire, just as the earth provides the containment for the water. And if you contemplate that, that's really symbolic of some deep truths related to our own physiology, our spiritual anatomy. It's an amazing concept there.
It's
If we
also
look,
a concept we can kind of consider. You just had me thinking about, I have a lot of air and earth in my chart, and it can really help us consider our roles here on earth. Are you
yeah,
here to maybe spark the new ideas or create it, or really hold the container and this be the support system or the transport system for the ideas? So very interesting.
exactly.
I'd never thought
Exactly.
of it that way.
Yeah, that's very true. The air signs, it's like, we need the materials of ideas and concepts and language to communicate our deep intuitions that help progress society forward, which is the fire. So we need that air for the fire, but also we need, physical expression, a body, the earth, to give form to our emotions. So exactly, whatever element you are, that really does actually reveal the role symbolically of what you're accomplishing here as a soul. Well said. So this is where we're at in the year. We're right here in Leo. And so the sun is actually, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but here it is. The sun is actually waning, relative, like if we were to relate it to the moon cycle, how the moon gets bigger and bigger in full light, and then it starts to wane and get dimmer and dimmer. This is where the sun is actually beginning to get a bit dimmer. So it reaches its apex of light there in Cancer for the summer solstice, and now it's starting to wane in its light, at least for those of us in the north. And so the sun is still very comfortable with where it's at. It's very cozy. It's on its throne here in the sign of Leo. And but gradually the days are getting shorter. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get cooler for us just yet. Here in the north, we still have some hot days ahead in August, but once it gets to Virgo, the cooling will begin, and that's the transition phase to this point of crisis. And actually, once we get to Virgo season, you'll learn that Virgo is all about crisis management. And crisis doesn't mean, a crisis just means a transition from one phase of experience to another. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but Virgo being a sign of health, your health is your ability to manage illness if it should come. So that's what Virgo is all about, preparation, and that's the time of the harvest, you know, before we step into fall. And so right now we're in this phase of exuberance, solar exuberance, where we can get very cozy. And Virgo is going to serve to curb whatever excess we might unfortunately lean into here in this fire sign of Leo, because Leo is about showing and it's about expressing and being larger than life. So it's a fixed fire sign, and it's, Leo's the showman, the performer, and it's a sign of creativity. And so here in the body, Leo rules the heart. Um, and it also rules the back. The heart and the back. The heart is the center of life for the body. It is the source, really, of the whole, life in the body. And also the back is the structure. So Leo is about integrity, and it's about what matters most, what is most central to our life and what we care about. And Leo being the fifth sign, you know, it 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 relates to, it's ruled by the sun, and it's connected to gold. And the mystics say that gold as a metal is literally solar power condensed into material form. They say that gold is literally the energy of the sun as a material. So it's very interesting, especially if you study alchemy and what the ancient writers said about gold. So this energy is about royal energy. And even though you may not be a Leo, you still have Leo in your chart somewhere. And this sign shows in your chart where you can let yourself shine and be that royalty. So the archetypes are the performer, the king, the father, the clown, the dictator, the creator. So there's a wide range here in Leo. And it actually, the fifth house, as we'll see, it's the house of children. So Leo is the child as well as the father or the ruler. It's very interesting how it's both. Um, and so these are the people who born roughly July 22nd to August 22nd. The symbol is the lion. The element is fire, and the mode is fixed. Now it's fixed because it's in the center of summer. It's the middle sign. The ruling planet is the sun, which spends about 30 days in each sign. The body part, as I said, is the heart and the back. Also, secondarily, the diaphragm and the spine, particularly the upper spine. Virgo rules the lower spine. And the key expression is I will. It's also been said to be I show or I create. So this is the part of you that really wants to be seen. And when you allow it to be seen, just by allowing yourself to be seen in that department of life experience, meaning whatever house your chart is occupied by Leo, that's the department of your life where you need to lean into basking in the warmth of the spotlight, being seen and knowing that you are seen, and um and to be, through that being seen, to be self-aware. So Leo in the fifth house. Uh, I wrote this. This is included in my monthly forecast that I do on my Patreon, which you can get for just $1 if you want to join my Patreon there. Leo relates to the fifth house of a birth chart, commonly called the house of creativity, also the house of children. So personal comfort, security, and emotional contentment, which is established or produced in Cancer, serves as the perfect foundation for the creative externalization of personality experienced in Leo. So, it's like when a child grows up in a home with a loving family with lots of support, that sense of security produces an ability for that child to be comfortable with its extroversion, with expressing that child's self at school, with friends, in places that are unknown. And so it's interesting how the fire signs are always born out of the water signs, So it's like from the nourishment and womb of the water rises this vitality and the spirit of fire. And the fifth house in the birth chart shows where one's feelings can find their most creative, pleasurable, and authentic release. Emotion. So it's energy in motion. And from the introverted nurturance of the fourth house cycle, which is Cancer, in which the roots of our unique being grows and is sustained through the comfort of a home, comes the exteriorization of your individual selfhood, the release of your creative power, which really comes through the fifth house. And so to find your unique flame and to let it grow unstifled into the full fire of your creativity until its glow can touch the face of others, to see that you are seen and to be self-aware, this is the work of this fifth sign, Leo. And the spiritual, lesson behind the sign is really all about self-awareness. So here's a quote by Manly Palmer Hall. He says, "There's a particular faithfulness about the Leos in matters of trust. What they believe in, they will serve to the end faithfully and unswervingly. For the most part, they function in a narrow sphere of experience. The broad outlooks are difficult for them, and they have a great difficulty in outgrowing inadequacies of early life and education. Leos have a great capacity for accomplishment, but are very apt to devote themselves to a cause not worthy of them and to remain faithful to things that were better given up." I wonder if anyone, or if you, Aubrey, have seen this in Leos. Have you noticed any of that, of what he said there?
Absolutely. My mom is a Leo. One of the astrologers that we both follow is, I think, a double or triple Leo. Got
Hmm.
quite a few Leos in my life. And there's the good side is that, I mean, when they're passionate, when you are passionate about something, there's loyalty, you'll go for it. You're ferocious and protecting,
Hmm.
the things and the people you love. On kind of the more challenging side, there can also be a tenacity that for other people can start to feel like it's too much, or that they just don't know how to kind of let go when it's like, hey, the consensus is the rest of the room is in this consensus, and that Leo can just keep going and not really know when to pull back. So
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. And even, I mean, we associate with a lot of spiritual types, but I think in mundane life, I have noticed other Leos who they're just so, I guess, dedicated to maybe a job or something that is really not, you know, nothing noble or nothing really good for them, or not even something they particularly like, but they're just so loyal to it to a fault. So yeah, that can be an issue with Leos. And I can hear the thoughts of the viewers right now. I dated a Leo and he was not loyal. Yeah, there is this quality of I mean, it's an immature sign. It's only the fifth sign, so
sometimes the
just
magnetism can present opportunities that are too hard to resist for certain Leos.
exactly. Well put, yeah. And I mean, yep. It's all about the the hunt for Leos. It's the especially romantically, it is
Like,
a sign
it can
of
be hard to like
romance.
direct the focus of the energy sometimes. Like the energy is going in all directions. And it's like when that happens, the warmth is gonna bring everyone in. And it's like, okay, when do we kind of focus that energy in and kind of keep it directed in one area if we're trying to build a family or a business or keep our energies contained.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a sign of fun. So deep down in Leo's hearts, it's just like it's hard to say no to a fun time. Really hard. Um, so let's get into August, the August transits now. Um, Actually, before we do that, we should hop into the tarot, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's do
Well,
it. Let's do it.
let's give you the stage.
Yeah. I pulled 5 cards for this one, and I'm pulling from 2 decks. We have the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which if you're familiar with tarot, you'll probably recognize this style of illustration. It's by Pamela Coleman Smith. I actually have a great episode about Pamela on my podcast, The Infinite Drop, where I interviewed the author of Queen of Wands, which is a book all about Pamela's life. So if you're interested in learning more, check out that episode. It's really good. But this is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And this other deck I pulled from is from Chris Ann's deck. It's called the Light Seers Tarot. And it's a more modern rendition. But I find that this deck really includes all of the important alchemical and spiritual symbols that we'll see in the traditional deck. So first card, no surprise, the Sun card. This card, I think, just really embodies all of the things that we have been talking about in this episode so far. The sun is Leo's planet. The sun, rules Leo. So it really, with this card, it's really signifying like clarity, enlightenment, and joy. And like we were talking about, kind of that childlike enthusiasm. It reflects Leo's radiant, charismatic nature and just always wanting, I think that I like to think that the intention is always just to see the best side of things, shine the brightest light on things. And sometimes that can get a little out of balance, but I feel the intention is usually positive there. So it's the Sun card is the
And
first tarot.
on that card too, I love the sunflowers there. And what is the red, that big red?
That bellowing red ribbon. I don't know. That's a really good question. I've looked into a lot of the symbols on these cards, and I haven't looked at this one. Red will usually signify passion. In more muted colors, it can indicate grief. I don't see that here.
Mhm.
So it's billowing in the wind. I think it's just maybe, and I can look into it, but if I had to take a guess, I would say it's kind of that unrestrained kind of passion and energy flowing through. If anyone
Yeah.
here watching knows, feel free to drop it in the comments.
I do
Uh,
know that I am aware that red can symbolize like a loss of innocence. Like there's the white rose, which represents it can represent the Christ before the crucifixion, and then there's the red rose is after the blood of the sacrifice. And so, it can also be menstrual blood, loss of innocence through that. So I think it's interesting. It's like there's a child there
and
on the horse.
she's wearing the red as the shirt as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
And Leo, like we said before, it's both the
or
child as well as the father. So there's this weird, Leo is kind of that puberty stage. It's that crossing into, um, where
adulthood.
yeah, and it's where you start to have, crushes, and you can have crush. Like I had a lot of crushes as a little kid, even before puberty, but it was still like, there was still a loss of innocence in the sense of, I remember being brave enough to tell this girl who I had a crush on, "Hey, I have a crush on you." And but sometimes when you do that, you get rejected, and then that can be a new feeling, especially if you haven't had that in your family before. You haven't had a family member reject you in that way. So even that can be a loss of innocence. It's funny how Leo has a little of both with that.
I actually just asked ChatGPT, and of course, I don't believe everything blindly from ChatGPT, and there's a ton of interpretations for each symbol on each card. So still look it up yourself. But um, according to kind of the accumulated data there, it does symbolize vitality, passion, and life force. It represents the conscious mind and energy that comes from embracing your true self and joy.
Hmm.
And it really is supposed to emphasize success, positivity, and a sense of personal power. So
Hmm.
done. That's a good question. The second card, no surprise, the Strength card. And I really like Chris Ann's rendition really well because sometimes people, I think, look at this card and stop maybe at like a first layer interpretation. They'll say, oh, it's the strength to take care of others and be kind and generous. And that is true. But really, when you're looking at the deeper layers of this, this is really about learning how to tame or incorporate the ego, right? The
Hmm.
lion in this card represents those urges we have that sometimes need to be tamed by our higher self, right? And you talking about Leo, this you're in between child and adulthood. We sometimes don't know when we're younger, like as adolescents, we'll make choices and it's like, oh, that was still the little kid in us when it may be called for an adult, response or reaction. So I love this card. It shows half woman, half lion. Her heart is very clearly on the pendant there, and she's tending over the little lamb. And I just think I think this rendition is really beautiful, showing, the lion arm is kind of reaching over and messing with the tendrils of the human side. So it's kind of like we always get those urges and those pulls, but can you stay balanced in it? And strength really symbolizes inner strength, courage, self-mastery. These are all traits inherent in the sign of Leo. And when I think about the connection to August, August in the Northern Hemisphere is a time of high summer. We're embodying the highest point of vitality. There's robust energy. And that's really the essence we see on this card. There's a lot of robust energy. She's got a large maternal chest, right? And the lion's mane is large. There's, everything's really full and big. And it really, I think, also captures that warm, nurturing side of Leo too. So
Hmm.
very interesting.
Laying with the lamb there. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. The next card I pulled for this is the Nine of Discs, sometimes called the Nine of Pentacles. Right here, we'll see two renditions. This card is all about confidence, and it's really self-confidence, and it's the pentacles deal with the discs deal with the earth realm, right? It's very tangible, and Leos have the ability to harness that energy and have it bring a result or a reward in the physical realm. So we look at this card, it's very self-sufficient. It's all about luxury and enjoying the fruits of your hard work. I mean, both of these women are dressed well. They're in full abundant gardens. Birds are drawn in and attracted to them, landing on their shoulders or in the air. It's really about the ability to achieve success through confidence and directing the life force, right? It's almost like you can see the energy is within these women, and then they're directing it with their focus or their hand. It's not like the sun where the energy is spreading everywhere. So I really feel the abundance and fulfillment depicted here reflects kind of the harvest and the enjoyment that we can have in summer's bounty. It's a time when all the gardens are in full bloom if they're not getting crushed by the sun, right? If the sun and water are in balance. And there's just a sense of prosperity and contentment. So I really like the Nine of Pentacles for Leo season in August.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the final two cards, they're similar because they're a pair. They go together, different in their own ways, but they are the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. And I did a whole free class on the royal cards of the tarot, the eight cards that make up the King and Queen pairs in the tarot. It's very interesting because each pair has very different energetics. And what I love about this pair is they face one another. They face one another. And this queen is the only queen in the deck who has her legs spread. The other queens have their legs together. So this queen really represents being open and shining, the sacral force, the life force. They're both very magnetic characters. They're also the only kings and queens in the deck whose thrones ascend into the spiritual realm. And both of these cards I love. She has the black cat and he has the salamander. The alchemists considered the salamander to be a animal of spiritual protection, and the black cat, of course, is from the spiritual realm and is protective of the queen here. I just love, there's a lot of orange and yellows on these cards. There's just a sense of vitality, there's sexual energy, there's magnetism. Both of these leaders are visionary. It's very interesting with, I'll show you what they look like on the other deck. Look at that, right? Same thing, magnetic, strong, joyful, exuberant, kind of laid back. They rule in a different way than the other kings and queens. They almost project the vision out, and people become so inspired that they follow them and take action. So if you were being ruled by this king or queen, you might not necessarily hear, like the King of Pentacles might say, hey, I need you to go to the garden and collect 100 strawberries or build 2 houses and come back to me. These kings and queens won't lead like that. They'll have some music on, they'll be creating a vibe. You'll come in and you'll be like, ooh, now I'm inspired to impress them in this way or contribute to the community in this way. So they're
Hmm.
really confident leaders. They have that magnetism like Leo. They really echo a regal and charismatic trait. With August specifically, the Queen of Wands is very much associated, like I said, with creativity and passion, the open legs or the open or flowing sacral. And so in August, there are a lot of festivals and artistic performances, social gatherings. Like you said, it's not totally like cooling off yet, but we're starting to trend that way. And people, people are like, oh, it's not so hot. They can kind of come out a little bit and, you start kind of showing off the music or the art or the communities are coming together. I know we have Tomato Fest here in Nashville and people are just starting to come together and show off maybe or share what they've been working on in the summer. The King of Wands is, like I said, really a leader. He lights the way for others and he's entrepreneurial, he's dynamic, he's ambitious. He's almost so busy doing his thing. He's like, I'm doing my thing. What are you doing? Like by him just being out there, you're kind of like, oh man, this dude's up to a lot. I need to, get my wheels spinning and going. So I think August is just a month that's really ripe with the potential for new ventures and people are thinking about what do I want to get spun up before fall and winter set in. So those are the
Hmm.
5 cards that I chose for Leo in August. And this was a fun one. There's a lot of fun energy with Leo. It's activating.
Definitely, definitely. Even just that's just what time of year it is.
Mhm.
It's this energy of this is my moment. This is my chance to get a tan. This is my opportunity to go swimming, to take my clothes off and be comfortable. And there's a lot of just that's a larger than life kind of energy. It's an energy of let me act now, let me take it, let me grab what life has to offer and not really think about the consequences. And that's the negative aspect of this sign. But yeah, it is all about just let's get what we can. Let's get the juice out of life while we can before winter sets in. And that impending sense of doom is actually explains a lot about the psychology of Leos and if you have any planets in Leo. And it's the opposite sign really epitomized by Aquarius, which is a very socially aware, revolutionizing collective energy. And so that shadow in the back of Leo's head is, it could be the concern of what other people think. It could be the fear of fitting in and not being special. It could be the fear of, I'm going to lose my chance. And so then that shadow could often become regret of, oh, I didn't seize the moment when I had the chance. And so we have to draw upon hope. And that's a big Leo energy here is the hope that there will be another chance. And because life always gives us more chances. And that eternal youth is inside of your heart always. It's always there.
That's a good way that Leo and Aquarius differ. Like Leo's so in the moment, like gotta capture it now. Summer's gonna be over. Like gotta gotta get things going while the spark is high. Where Aquarius is so future oriented. It's almost like I'm an Aquarius, right? And so I think I have a Leo midheaven. No, I have a Gemini midheaven. I have a whatever. I have a I'm trying to
What's
think.
your rising?
My rising is Virgo, but I have Leo is my oh, what is it when you're is it your IC when you're going towards it? Is it the,
Oh, so the IC is at the bottom of the chart.
no, then it's my other one. It's the
The
MC.
MC, the midheaven. So that would be Gemini.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember which one it is, but anyway, I have Leo in like one of those prominent placements. But yeah, Aquarius is so future oriented that it's like sometimes we can forget to be in the present moment and we're always like, oh, there's another chance, there's another opportunity. Like, so I think that what you said is really good, like finding that balance between staying in the moment, but also being like, okay, if it doesn't happen this summer, this month, like we could do it next month, hopefully, right? We can't capture everything all at once all the time. So. And
Right.
Aquarius can be reminded to stay in the present moment, you know?
Right.
Um,
Totally. Totally. I love that you're an Aquarius and I'm a Leo. That's
yeah.
perfect.
I'm gonna look at I'm
Your
gonna
chart.
I'm Leo anti-vertex, it says. I
Hmm.
don't know what that means.
Okay, let me
My
let's
vertex is Aquarius, my anti-vertex is Leo. They kind of changed the names in my app that I use. And so it used to be called something else.
hmm.
Yeah, my midheaven is Gemini.
Hmm.
Moon and Venus and Aries. So I do have a lot of that fire in the emotion and like the relationship and home realm. So
Oh yeah.
mhm.
Love it. Okay. So you can see the chart here, which is awesome. So the first thing about August is um it starts out with the moon in Cancer, which it's in at the time of this recording. And when the sun is in dignity and the moon is in dignity, meaning the sun is in the sign it loves to be in, the moon is in the sign it loves to be in, this is just like all is right with the kingdom kind of energy. And it only lasts a few days because the moon moves so quick. But we start off August with energy where you can get organized, you can get set on a plan, you can get in the moment, grounded, and you can have a plan about how you want um, this month to go, but also how you want your life to go by tuning into what that place is of what it feels like to be in your center, to be in your throne, in the place of, okay, this is who I am, this is where I am meant to be. How do I want to change things in the kingdom? And so really try to get centered and try to still the mind because Mercury is stationing. It stations at 4 degrees and then turns retrograde shortly after the new moon. So before we talk about the new moon, this Venus is going to square Uranus here early in the month, the first through the third, exact on the second. And when Venus squares Uranus, this is what changes happening in relationship or unexpected things occurring. You still just see the chart there, right? Just want to make
Yeah.
sure. Okay, cool. So when Venus squares Uranus early on this month, you just want to know that there could be some difficult things that we have to deal with in relationship, and these changes require flexibility since they are happening in the fixed signs and patience to handle these challenges effectively, especially if it's a relationship you want to have success in. There is going to be the need to let go of it though, and that's going to be the difficult part. You know, if you love somebody, that means you have to let them go. You have to let them be who they are because that's what love does. It supports without clinging, and it has ownership without possessiveness. So it's a hard balance, and you got to be gentle with yourself as you navigate this because something that you really want, right, could, like, especially with Venus and Leo, it's like, oh, I desire this, whether it's a person, a job, a project, whatever. When it squares Uranus, Uranus is going to shake it up. So we just we can handle this if we have an honest look about what our values are. And,
I
if these
think,
yeah, go ahead.
I think it's worth stating. I mean, I'm interrupting here, but I think it's worth stating when you just said that, like, be easy on yourself.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm just been coming to realize in the last couple months is that we're at such a huge it can't even be, there's no way to overstate the shift in consciousness that's happening. And the relationships, everyone that was, anyone I would say that's over the age of 20 years old maybe even like 15. It's like the way we were all raised, even if you're 90 or 110 years old, we were raised in a different paradigm of relationships and what it means to relate and how that means to relate and how to do that in a healthy way or a way that works in the way that we've evolved to be now. And the like when you said there's the fine balance between, I think you said ownership and what was the, you said like ownership,
Possessiveness.
possessiveness, and these very nuanced energies. They're
Yeah.
so nuanced. And it's like we're learning how to appropriately balance our healthy needs with someone else's healthy needs and how to flow in that. And so relationships are looking, feeling, behaving much, much differently than how we were raised, trained, taught, modeled that they will be. It's just a fact. Like this is a fact. I'm saying things that might sound out there, but it is just so apparent when you look at any type of relationships out there, and whether it's the way we parent or interact with people we work with, or we're in romantic relationships with close friendships, acquaintances, we are all at the same time, regardless of age. I think, unless you're maybe under 15, it would be different. Under 15 or 20, I would say it's different. But really, we're learning a whole new system, and it's hard. It's difficult once you've been programmed in and you have expectations about how things should be, or things seem right or wrong. You're like, wait, I was taught this was wrong or right. And now we're having to, in real time, like the plane is flying and we're like changing the parts on the plane and like how the technology works. And it's like, whoa, wait, my oxygen mask isn't down, my seatbelt's off, wait, you know, they're not stable. We're not in a state, we're not in a cardinal energy right now. We're in a very mutable and changing energy that's happening in real time. So I think we've just been getting test after test after test, especially the last 2.5 years. But really coming into the beginning of August, I'm feeling it not only with what my clients are reflecting back to me, but what I'm experiencing personally, the people around me are experiencing, is this very much, I don't want to say we're making it up as we go along, but we're all learning in real time together. I'm noticing myself, I'm having to apologize more. Other people are giving me more apologies. Like we're all kind of like, wait, I messed up there. Wait, what I meant was this. It's almost like we're finding a new footing or language. And so I can just see that this is another opportunity, is the nice way to put it, opportunity coming up with
Yeah.
this Uranus square to Venus that's coming up. But it's not to say it's easy, but I think I love how you said be easy on yourself, because we're all learning it. And maybe some people are already getting it right, but I'd say they're super advanced in this realm. And I think we all
Yeah.
need to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And just do your, I mean, it's not because, yeah, because it's not easy. It's very nuanced. There's a lot of skill involved on top of all the conditioning and programming that we have that is kind of like you alluded to, it's not working anymore. And so we have to innovate. We're the innovators, but also I really believe that we have to reconnect with the ancient wisdom that a lot of the baby boomers and, you know, during the Industrial Revolution, and then how society just skyrocketed after that. And within 50 years, we're creating rockets and then telephones and all this crazy stuff. Like, man, I mean, we have to reconnect with the ancient wisdom because we can now that we have the internet. There's free internet archives of ancient scriptures and the ancient wisdom, and we're going to get into the heart too, which has always forever been seen as the source of our spiritual wisdom, the thing that really controls and regulates our mind and our emotions. And we're going to, from the facts that I've listed down here today, you're going to see that it actually does. And the spiritual component is you have to forgive your mother and father. I will die on that hill forever. You have to forgive your mom and dad for how they raised you, because they gave you the example of how a relationship works or how you think it should work. Because however you saw mom and dad behave, that was imprinted on you. And whether it's conscious or unconscious, you believe that, okay, that's how relationships work. And so the only way to disentangle that is to arrive at a spiritual solution, which is the forgiveness of the parents, which is really finding how to love your parents as though they were your children. And then the lesson of love comes full circle. But until I forgave my parents, I didn't have the ability to say no to a girl who I could, on some level, see was not right for me. But it was just there is this need, or there is this appetite, or whatever it is. I was just at the level of consciousness I was at. It was only forgiveness that allowed me to show a love that's actually unconditional towards women, where I don't need their love anymore. I can just provide that love, and also the courage to walk away from somebody if they're not, if I see that we're not aligned. And this is the thing with Venus square Uranus early in the month. Are your values aligned with the person you're currently flirting with? Because if not, Venus square Uranus is going to give an earthquake with that, and you're going to be forced to confront that. So don't close your heart when the going gets tough here in August, early on. Stay engaged and stay open and available, and especially open-hearted. And let these changes run their course, and just be honest about, and it can be a breaking point where it's like, oh, shoot, we should have figured this out weeks ago, months ago, if you're in a relationship currently. So it'll be a challenge just to see how well you did there. And then as you learn this lesson, you'll get better and better as you go. So do be, be easy on yourself. Especially then, August 3rd, the moon comes into Leo and immediately opposes Pluto, as it has been doing every time. So this is,
Whole explosion.
yeah. And that could be the death of the relationship if it doesn't survive this Venus-Uranus square. And it can feel like a sinking energy that pulls you really deeply inward, which is already the case since this is a new moon. So continue to do your best to listen to that still, small, voiceless voice in your heart. In the Upanishads, an ancient Hindu scripture, it describes that there is a microscopic point of light within the heart. And you can tune into this in your meditations. And this, I think, aligns with the humility of the heart, especially when you visualize just a microscopic little pinpoint sparkle of light at the center of your heart. So these ancient scriptures say that that's really there. And it's time to tune into that on this Leo new moon. And as it initially opposes Pluto on the 3rd, just keep your mind open with that Mercury stationing in Virgo. Don't give in to unhealthy impulses and avoid unneeded conflict, because we have to focus on positive transformation with Pluto in Aquarius. And so here we have the chart of the new moon. Bring sun and moon, mother and father together. And so here they are at 12 degrees Leo. And we'll have Venus at the last degree of Leo, and Mercury is not yet fully turned retrograde just yet, but it's about to. So this is a new moon that is so powerful for tuning into the heart. It's about entering your center. And so it's an ability to renew your connection to your power, which comes from the heart. It comes from love. And there's wisdom in that lives within your beating heart. And it's a day to return home to yourself and what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure and creative freedom. And if you're feeling creatively stifled or uninspired, then this new moon is the opportunity to offer up a prayer of gratitude and send in a request for the divine to send you feelings. You can ask for whatever feeling you want. I love this technique of asking the divine, hey, please send me a real visceral sense of appreciation. And you'll notice just how quickly appreciation comes. But offer up a prayer on this new moon, for your life, and just whatever it is that you require right now. What do you require? How much money do you require? How much inspiration do you require? How much joy do you require for your life? It's much better than need. I even think require is better than want, because it's a request and it's very direct. And so offer a prayer of gratitude for what you currently have. That's important. and for your ability to love, because that shows that you already have love, you have access to love. And you can ask God to help you dissolve any blockages that are preventing a more creative connection to your life, whether that's being able to be open romantically, flirtatious, or whether it's just, you've lacked the ability for true inspiration. And the heart is blocked by grief. So oftentimes we have anger, which is masking fear, and then that fear is masking grief oftentimes. So if you notice any grief, be grateful for that, because just seeing it means it's coming to light, means it's being processed. Um,
There's
yep.
something with this moment that kind of has me wonder, the day before August 3rd, there's kind of this bright light, there's should call it a bright light. There's an explosion element, a confronting element with Pluto right on Leo, the soul. And then the next day, like you said, there's the coming together of the mother and father. It's in the first house. And I'm just noticing like Mercury right next to Venus and Jupiter right by Mars. And I'm wondering if you make it through that August 3rd fight, there could be some babies conceived in this moment. I'm kind of wondering like the explosive energy of the Mars, Mercury communicating with Venus. I'm kind of thinking of like DNA codes being activated, especially mom and dad together in the first house, the sense of I am. So if you are not wanting to have that happen, maybe August 4th is a day to play it a little safe. If your relationship is doing good and gets through that August 3rd, it looks like there could be some really interesting energies there for possibly conceiving a new soul. So,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well put. And we're going to
yeah.
get to that when that Venus and Mercury comes. There's going to be some news. Yeah.
Heads up.
Yep. So some new things you can cultivate using this energy of the new moon is you can really beneficially focus on starting a new creative project, whatever that is for you. You could pick up a new hobby or an old hobby that you let go of. This is a time to make more time for fun and play. Do your best. You're probably working hard, but carve out some time in your schedule to do things that you enjoy. This will cause a new spark of consciousness within you, which will allow you to more deeply enjoy your life, which will unleash more authenticity from your soul. And that will lead to a life of fulfillment, because we can't be fulfilled if we're living a lie. And if we're living a lie, that means there's no real joy. So try and see how this is all connected here. And new sparks of romance can start after this, on this new moon, and after it as well. And with the right intentions, you can really enhance your relationships now, bringing in new flames of passion in old or current relationships. Or if you're single, you can establish more of an openness to play the field more, to meet new people and just be, less serious. And that's really the key to meeting people. I'll tell you, when the time in my life when I was traveling and, doing woofing, which is farming on all across Maui, and just having a blast in my early 20s. That was the time when I met the most amount of women that I had ever met. And so, if you're a guy, you want to meet more women, or if you're a girl, you want to meet more potential, you know, dudes that you can date or whatever. The intention that I set that really allowed me to just have the most amazing friendships and relationships with women was the intention to make female friends. Such a simple intention, but that was it. I just want friends. I want to meet friends who are females, you know? And and that it was crazy how much that just opened the door, because it was a carefree energy, no expectations. I'm not trying to get anything from them. It's just, hey, let's share and let's have a good time. And that attracted a lot of people into my life. So wherever you begin with this new moon, start it from your heart. That's the key. And try and put on a big, bold smile on your beautiful face, and just put out lots of warm, loving energy into your environment. And you're going to reap the rewards for that. I'll give you a little new moon intention before we move on from this. This was an intention that I wrote for me. It goes, life is amazing, and so am I. And the full experience that life wishes to offer me won't be held back by any force outside me. So I will resolve not to hold back my own amazing gifts with which life has endowed me. I will contribute to the joy, the happiness, and the royalty of life by meeting it with my whole soul. In every moment, let me remember my birthright to be my true self and my incredible opportunity to live life in love and truth. And some deep questions you can ask. I have a whole list here for my light workers on my Patreon, but a few of them are, when I bring my light, what am I bringing? What qualities do I call into being? So what does that mean for you when you bring your light? And darkness is a negative. It's just a mere absence of light. So where there is light, there can be no darkness. And contemplate if it's perhaps the same for love and hate, you know? I truly believe that self-love is just the removal of self-hatred. And then by default, you have love for yourself. You don't need those affirmations to affirm that you love yourself. You just love yourself because you are love. Another question is, do I ever give power to hate by ceasing to love? Just like I let darkness fill the room whenever I turn off the light. And when do I do this? And why do I do this? So this is about self-awareness. Is there more inherent power in love or in hate? And which do I choose? And I focus on hate because that's the cause of our wars. So if we want an earth of peace, let's expose that hate. Let's really expose it. Because we just have peace by default once we get rid of this hate. So, and we get rid of the hate through, forgiveness. That's it. Because otherwise that sting of resentment will always be there. It'll always fester. All right. So will I give myself to love or to hate? It's a question to ask. And can I learn to simplify my thinking so as to experience life more directly and truthfully? That's a good question there because the heart is very simple. Leo it's really very simple energy. It's not complex. We just like to relax on the beach with, you know, with our friends. And that's it. It's just very simple energy. It's like, what do you enjoy? Okay, so there's more, but let's keep moving on here. Um, August 5th. It's really 11 p.m. for me, Pacific time on the West Coast, on the 4th that Mercury turns retrograde. But, you know, depending on where you are in the world, it's the 5th. Mercury turns retrograde in Virgo. So let's make this chart a midday chart. And let's go ahead by a day. So there's Mercury retrograde. And Venus is now in Virgo. So Venus and Mercury are together for, you know, from the 5th to the 9th, roughly. So from the 5th to the 9th, you likely have some news coming in when Mercury meets with Venus, planet of love and relationships, meets with the planet of communication and information. So there's some news coming in. There's a lot of things being directly communicated in relationships now. After that Venus square Uranus, it might be really important things about how to arrive at more stability in your relationships again, especially if it's been destabilized. So this could be people telling you how they really feel. And with Mercury retrograde, you want to listen. There's going to be this tendency with Mercury going reverse in Virgo, a sign Mercury loves being in, to like to skip over stuff, like, or to be like, oh, no, wait, I'm missing something. Maybe they actually meant this. When if you just took what they said at face value, you might really see what they're actually trying to say. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, try not to overcomplicate it and watch your mind if your mind is trying to overcomplicate something. And just do your best to, you know, speak directly because this Mercury retrograde is all about the details, details, details. So let's talk about Venus in Virgo, which lasts all month until the 29th. This offers a good period of time to be more attentive in relationships and to nurture them through acts of service and attention to detail and fine-tuning certain things, you know, with practical approaches in your relationships. So it really serves, Venus and Virgo serves to improve the functionality of relationships. You know, it's like greasing the gears, making sure that just wherever there's friction, we're smoothing that out. And you got to be open and honest to express these things in order to do that. Virgo is a sign of communicating. Um, and it's about are all these different parts of the whole communicating with each other to create efficiency, to create functionality. That's what Virgo's all about. So this energy can be a bit shy and reticent and analytically cold. So do put in efforts not to let any overly critical outlooks put a damper on your fires of love and passion. Just remember to keep that heart open. And Mercury's retrograde, it can feel like there's things piling up, tasks, chores, deadlines, blah, 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 because of your awareness is stacking things that can be improved on, that can be worked on. So you really, really want to do your best here in August, not to get overwhelmed, to simplify. And here's how to skillfully manage the retrograde. Ready? Prioritize what is most important. Make a list and don't sweat the small stuff. Just focus on what's at the top of the list and keep your mind on that. And if something new comes in, write it on the list. Maintain strong boundaries because it could be that, especially at places of work, wherever you're employed, people are buckling under pressure. They're not handling the retrograde well. And so they're going to try and put some of that workload onto you. So they may ask you to do more than you should be asked to do. So manage that well with strong boundaries, because otherwise you will buckle under this retrograde and you will become overly stressed. Complications and miscommunications can occur, of course, especially at places of work. So slowing down, calming your nerves, and speaking clearly and calmly is super wise here in August. And give grace to others, and this grace will be extended to you. I did want to talk about the heart really quick because a new moon in Leo establishes a firm connection to the heart, that as we've seen. So let me just give some amazing facts about the heart really quick, if you don't mind, Aubrey.
Oh yeah, I think it's great.
Cool. So the heart has 40,000 neurons. 40,000. It's
I
a
didn't
it's
know that.
Yeah, the heart has this was discovered in the 90s, that the heart is actually a mini brain. And if you put your two hands together like this is the size of your heart. Just like this. Yeah, exactly. That's the size of your heart right there. And it's this fruit. So the body is it's a tree with roots above and branches below. So the brain is like the root bulb, and then it extends out all these nerves, which are the branches. And the heart would be the fruit. And the heart is literally the fruit. And this is described in scriptures all over the world. And this heart sends more information to your brain than the brain sends to the heart. The heart has more data that it is sending to the brain, and the heart affects your brain's capacity to process information and to make decisions. So your connection to your heart is so important. I nail on this every Wednesday whenever we do our manifestation classes, because an open heart is essential to manifesting the life that you desire. So the heart is the portal to the cosmos. I really believe that. That's why Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun is the center of the solar system. And when we're reading a chart, we're just looking at the solar system. We're just saying, okay, what's going on with the solar system? Because that is going to give us a holographic representation of what's going on Earth. So the heart connects you to the galaxy, to the whole source of this whole universe. And it's a portal. And I've always said that. And there's many other mystics and astrologers and all kinds of cool people who agree with me that, I just look at, okay, the heart is the first to be formed. It's formed in the fetus before the brain. It's the first thing to come alive, and it's the last thing to die. So it's a portal. So the heart pumps, this is just a fun fact, the heart pumps 2,000 gallons of blood a day, and those 2,000 gallons travel 12,000 miles. That's 4 times the size of the US from the West Coast to the East Coast. So there's a ton of circulation happening in your body right now, just massive amounts of electricity, electromagnetism being generated. So just think about that. And so the heart's rhythms affects your brain. So you really want to, the key to accessing that and to calming the heart's rhythm is through the breath. And I'll give you a technique to do that. But I also want you to know there's 1,300 biochemical reactions, 1,300 biochemical reactions that are triggered in your body when you achieve heart-brain coherence. And I'll show you how to do that right now. We'll do that together. And 3 minutes of coherence lasts up to 6 hours in its effects. So all it takes is 3 minutes, and your whole day could be so amazing, and your whole timeline of your life could change. Um, so those are my fun facts for the heart. Here's how to achieve heart-brain coherence. It's really just 3 steps. First
Can you
step is,
can you put your video front and center? I want to kind of see if you're doing a breathing technique.
yeah, absolutely.
The
Um,
if you don't mind.
Not at all. So let me see. All right, how's that?
You can just stop sharing your screen maybe, and that'll,
Oh
there
yeah.
we go. Perfect.
Okay. So there's 3 steps to arriving at heart-brain coherence. And when you do this, as I said, 1,300 biochemical reactions are triggered, but this promotes healing, and this also allows for clear decision making. You can access your intuition, you can be more easily honest, you can more easily connect. It's so many benefits, it's endless. And here's how you do it. The first step is you tune into your breath. And here's the real trick. The real trick to slowing the heart rate and getting centered is to make sure that your out breath is very slow. That's it. The way to do that is to breathe in fully and then purse the lips so that it's like you're blowing like through a straw. And you just breathe out through the mouth in a controlled and slow way. And as slow as you can do it, the better, because you're sending a signal to the body that I am safe. You only breathe like that if you're safe. So you're telling the body, relax, we're safe. It's an amazing center point. So tune into the breath. Number 2, bring your attention to the heart. That's it. Did you know the heart is actually at the center of the chest? I always thought it was to the left. It's just tilted to the left, so that's why you feel it more on the left side. But it's actually right here in the center, just behind the breastbone. And so bring your attention to the light in there. You can imagine that there's a little point of light in the center of the heart, and this will actually focus your awareness very intently. You can even imagine that it's microscopic, and that will very intensely center your focus there. And then from there, you can expand the light outward to the ends of the cosmos if you want. That's what I do. So that's step 2, bring your awareness to your heart and imagine you're breathing in through that portal of the heart and breathing out through the portal. You can even think of the word ease to establish this even more. Step 3 is the feeling. So you want to generate a feeling of appreciation, gratitude, compassion, love. Any of those feelings, and really any feeling that is positive in that way. That's called a regenerative feeling. Those 3 steps, you maintain that. So maintain the breath nice and slow, maintain awareness of the heart, and maintain a regenerative feeling, a feeling of gratitude for your body, for your house, for your bed, for your family, whatever you can generate gratitude for. Maintain that for 3 minutes, and that will last 6 to 9 hours. It'll last all day. And there's heart-brain coherence. That's it. So the heart and the brain become one whole system working together. And they really are one already. But we live in a society that has dislocated those two. And we're operating as a culture from this place of separateness. So this is going to take a lot of practice. But I really believe that it's this practice that will change the world. I had a vision one night, Aubrey, that the thing that will prevent World War III is the unspoken, self-evident realization that comes through our hearts that we can't kill each other. We just can't do that. And once that will open up spontaneously in each individual's heart. There is science to show that when one person in a group is heart-brain coherent, just like we became just now, that one person can create this domino effect where everyone else's hearts open spontaneously. So that's
Feels
how we
so different. I think it's probably between 2 and 3 minutes while you were chatting.
awesome.
I'm like, oh,
You
my
are
shoulder.
glowing.
I feel like, I mean, I have a ring light, so let's not attribute too much of the glow, but I mean, I do feel like I just noticed that my brain was kind of up here on a shelf, having a more non-radiant, dense energy. And my heart, I was like, "Oh, I haven't even noticed my heart today." Doing that, I'm like, oh, my shoulders feel more relaxed. I feel more chill. And
Yeah.
wow, it feels great. It's a good
Hmm.
reminder, right? It's a good reminder.
Absolutely.
I have
Yes.
these visuals now of like 11,000 miles of like like blood circuits, basically circuits of blood running through my body. I'm like, oh my, the most tiny angel hair spaghetti possible. Or what are they? Not artilleries, artilleries, arteries.
Arteries. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
although you did relate arteries to artilleries in Aries season, I do remember. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, wow, what a cool tool. Almost like I do exercises where I'll work with clients too, where we kind of take all of the thoughts in the head and kind of breathe them down and give it to the heart and just let it go past the throat into the heart. But doing it this way and the way you explained it and the way you led us through that, I just really felt a sensation of all of the tasks that I have that are stacking up, kind of just dropped them down in the heart. And it's like, wow, well, if the heart is kind of the bigger brain than the head, why don't I just give this to the heart? And then it can maybe reorganize or find new solutions or more effective or efficient ways. It might even know the things I can just drop and let go of for now, and then pass those notes back up to my head. And I feel like almost gets like the cobwebs out of my head. Um,
Yes.
we just get into these moments where there's so much. I know everyone has so much going on, and we see the intensity of the astrology building, and we're going to feel these sensations more. So I love having this practice to do in the morning. It's just a good reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
When I
mean that
pinpointed the light, like doing the pinpoint, like when I think about the heart, it can kind of get like cloudy, but when you did the pinpoint of light, it did get like super focused. It's almost like a laser that you'd play with a cat. It was like right on my heart. And I'm like, okay, that is very specific. It helps.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Just making it very small, it's like the mind goes, okay, swoop. So if you want to improve, so I mean, that's why the scriptures say that the husband is the head of the wife, because the brain is masculine, the heart is feminine. So we're to listen to our wives though. So like, because she's the intuitive one. So if you're a man, you really want to improve your relationship with women, practice listening to your heart. It's quite literally the practice of listening to the feminine. And it's really improved my relationships with women drastically. If you're a woman, it's the same thing. Tuning into the heart allows you to listen to the brain in a way that's where it's not invasive. You don't have these invasive thoughts, these intruding thoughts, this sense of like you have to protect yourself from this intruder masculine energy, because you don't. It's there to guide you. Just the brain does provide direction for the heart. The heart provides the creativity and the fertility. So these two go together. And when we achieve a harmony between them, I truly believe that's how we prevent World War III. That's how we unify the sexes, which are currently at war. If you just if you know anything about the red pill movement, you know, or men going their own way, MGTOW, um, I mean, this is no, we're not in a very healthy state as far as the relationship between men and women, masculine and feminine. So I think this is how we heal it, by starting within, connecting within. So, funny enough, we do have Mars and Venus, the masculine and feminine energy, squaring each other this month. So there's going to be some conflict between these two opposing forces. All right, let's blast through this. So we're already over an hour. Um, so wonderful energy, though, after that new moon with the Sun and Jupiter sextile. So they are working together, air and fire coming together. Um, and also Venus and Mercury are still conjunct. So this is very positive for getting things moving. I do recommend you be there for others if they, need just a listening ear, because you can be somebody that people really remember for a long time if you just give them that chance to be heard without judgment. People are really going to be needing that over this retrograde. And as a light worker, that's going to be an amazing way for you to provide light. Um, but there's big energy with the Sun and Jupiter sextile. Wonderful for parties, social engagements, creative projects that operate through teamwork and communication. And just lots of amazing bonding can happen now, and hearts can open quite easily with a lot of good feelings about it. So charge yourself up with joyful energy, because this charge of energy will get you through any difficulties that you're going to face ahead in this month. So that's a very positive aspect there on the 7th. All right. Let's go forward in time. The next big aspect is gonna be Mars conjunct Jupiter there. This is gonna happen on the 14th.
Just almost, I'm seeing like I'm like saying it's going to be good for us to focus on our positive interactions. I can just see like, I mean, you don't even need the astrology to see this, but I feel like it's being supported by the astrology or
mhm.
reflected back. Just, I think the political discourse, the Mars and Venus, you could see that as the two kind of the two, you know, two-party system candidates we have now.
Good.
Maybe one another, the fire in the air can be like words getting really hot and moving fast. And then this Mars conjunct, was it Mars conjunct Venus, you said here? Where are
Mars
we?
conjunct Jupiter. Yeah.
Jupiter, the expansion of fire and energy. So it might be a good time to kind of turn the noise boxes down on those particular channels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And this really lasts from the 11th to the 17th. This is big mental energy.
Mhm.
Um, and so Mars Jupiter conjunct in Gemini is a fruitful time for you to pursue opportunities and
What a
create
good
new
idea.
ones.
Yeah, like new aha moments kind of coming in or
It is exactly new, exciting ideas that expand your life. It's just going to be difficult to find out how to fully apply them, but that's okay. That's why you want to keep a pen and paper handy and write these things down and then give it to your heart. Um, because you will see how to apply these ideas later on, but you can be very enterprising under this transit, really bold in how you're communicating. And you just kind of want to make something happen for yourself if you can. Draw upon your inner confidence and your mental resolve, your commitment, your determination. And this is a transit that helps you start powerful, positive, successful enterprises. If you believe in yourself and if you take action, and if you're not, if you're speaking confidently about what you have to offer, just try not to overdo it. Mars conjunct Jupiter is us overdoing a lot of things. And then it's also approaching this square here to Saturn. So this indicates like an interruption, probably by a higher up. Maybe somebody at your work prevents you from doing what you want, or this could be travel restrictions as well, especially since the moon in Sagittarius, sign of travel, is forming an exact T-square with these. Um, yeah, I wouldn't, travel doesn't look good here in mid-August, I'll be honest. I mean, Gemini is your local community. Sagittarius is far off travel. So far off travel doesn't look good, but connecting with your local environment looks really good. I wouldn't travel mid-August. It looks like could be delays or issues, especially if you're traveling by sea. Saturn in Pisces represents seafarer, and that just is not in a good state right now. Sorry to say it, but if you're going on a boat, I wouldn't, but just make sure you're extra careful if you do. Um,
we have Jupiter in the fourth too. So just kind of expanding your home, expanding in your home, kind of nurturing that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, starting from the foundation is really important, just from the ground up to stay grounded. Um, but this square to Saturn indicates that discipline and endurance are required for you to harvest the full positivity of this transit with all its mental drive and, a lot of cognitive stuff going on. It might not turn out so well without the proper wisdom and restraint and patience to deal with any delays or challenges. And such delays may actually be fortuitous. It just might be hard to see it. So try to maintain a good attitude about it because you might not see how positive a delay or, a speed bump actually is. And then Mercury retrogrades back into Leo. So we'll start to lose patience for work once that happens, which is going to occur on that 14th. 15th, you'll really feel it. And so this is a time to remember to make time for fun. Don't take things too serious. And uh, it's a good Mercury going back into Leo shows that we need to revise our approach to certain things, making sure that, because we've seen the details, we're seeing with Venus and Mercury that retrograde in Virgo, the things that need to improve and how we can improve it. And now it's time to be more playful, more generous, and more confident about how we're going to make these improvements. So this retrograde is about learning to be more positive and loving and creative, especially with your work. All right. And any revision and self-review that you do, just being honest about where you have negative biases will be really fruitful. Okay. And then we are on the way to a full moon, but the 15th is my birthday. Woot woot. And then the 16th, discipline can be hard, and work can feel less and less desirable when Mars squares Saturn. And a very real or peculiar sense of depression can happen under this transit too, you guys. So make sure you slow down and see what's going on with you mid-August. Something needs to be integrated between the mind and the emotions, most likely, so that forward progress can continue in a healthy way. And if we shut out the mind, we might lose out on some vital energy with Mars in Gemini and the insight needed to push forward. But by pushing forward too hard and disregarding our emotions, we'll eventually be forced to slow down because Saturn will force you if he has to. You might have to halt entirely because of the harsh lessons of reality and discipline that you're not paying attention to. So you have to listen to your emotions and discipline the mind, and you're going to get through this amazingly. And you might even, I think you're going to derive like a more empowered sense of grit and determination, which can feel really good and joyful. So,
Are there any Neptunian influences on like the 15th, 16th, 17th to note? Nothing really a big note.
yes, we do have Mercury opposite Neptune, the 14th.
What
So,
could that bring about?
oh wait, no, that's not an opposition. I'm sorry, that's a quincunx. It's like
Or is there nothing too major for Neptune?
nothing too major. Yeah, just needing to integrate our spiritual wisdom. Um, yeah, which is coming through the heart. I'm
Love
glad you
it.
asked. Glad you asked because that aspect is actually pretty telling. It's showing that like uh listening to the heart is a big thing that this Mercury retrograde is about. And a quincunx is an awkward angle showing we need adjustment. So Mercury's adjusting with the intuitive guidance of Neptune. It's like you're adjusting, it's like you're seeing different areas in your life where you're not fully integral or you don't fully have your heart in it. And then you can adjust and say, okay, if I bring my heart into this, I can access more intuition, more wisdom about how to handle this aspect of my life. And it's going to really be shown through any fears that you have, like where you're guarding your heart. So this Mercury retrograde looks awesome for healing that. And August 18th, the day before the full moon in Aquarius, we have Mercury square Uranus. Once again, this happened at another time in July. I can't remember exactly when, but there could be some exciting news at this time or things like shattering your perceptions or biases. So this could be good. Um, and you just want to be patient, keep being patient, keep being open-hearted. And it can be very mentally stimulating energy here on this full moon. And then we have the full moon in Aquarius. and it's at 27. So this full moon, there's a ton of aspects here. Right here, we have a big T square. So the sun and moon are opposites, both squaring Uranus. That's really crazy. What else do we have? We have a ton of aspects here. We have Venus and Virgo squaring Jupiter. Venus is also opposing Saturn. So there's another big T square right here. Boom, boom. So we have two massive T square configurations on the full moon exact. Jeez. What does it mean? Well, I'll tell you. So first of all, you can use a full moon in Aquarius. Aquarius rules networks and the collective and the internet, revolutions. And it lights us up on this full moon to make intuitive shifts in our approach to life and in our direction. Aquarius rules the ankles, which allow us to shift direction. And we're also likely energized at this time to change our approach to social media. You could change how you're presenting yourself on the online. You could also change your community involvement, any dynamics there. You could find a lot of energy to get more involved in certain groups or less involved in others. And it's about making changes in how we're working together with others to make our world a better place. So, in your personal life and collectively in your larger community. And this is a sign that sees things in a new way. So you could get a fresh angle or a fresh perspective on this new moon. And if you're ready for
Yeah,
a change, this full moon is the time to bring it forth in yourself, and you'll see it in your life.
Yeah, with that sun in the 10th and the moon in the 4th, it really feels like kind of the tilt or the angle is there may be social groups that you're a part of or that have been a big part of your identity that you start to realize maybe don't exactly match the emotions of who you are now at the core, like what really makes you feel comfortable. So there may be a situation, a comment, something happens at an event or in a community space, and you're like, whoa, I just don't know if this is really in alignment with my values anymore. Wow, I actually prefer, I don't want to hang out with this group 4 times a month. Maybe I can see them once a month, but really kind of gives that lean to putting priority on where you feel comfortable emotion in the 4th over maybe what's always been expected or you've always done with the sun and the 10th.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And well, Aubrey, I mean, these houses don't matter too much because they change just based on what time of day.
Oh, okay.
But that's actually,
I didn't know that. Okay, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah, the houses are kind of arbitrary for like the mundane chart. But you're actually spot on with
Oh,
what you said, though, because the moon is about comfort. And in Aquarius, it's like, what groups am I really comfortable in? And which ones are nurturing me? And which ones are in alignment with my dreams? So what you said is spot on.
really like if you're at an event at 11:51 a.m. Pacific and that happens, a very specific moment in time.
Exactly.
You're like, you're getting very specific, Aubrey.
But you can use this Aquarius full moon to rework your social ties and your commitments. You can be very intuitive about it too. And this full moon helps you draw upon strong mental and intuitive energy to improve the synergy in groups and communities, wherever you see that that's off. It also enhances, you can enhance your presence on social media with this full moon. You can be more inventive and more innovative. And you can appreciate the growth and the development of something that you began roughly 6 months ago when there was a new moon in this sign. So you might want to look into that. What was going on at that time of your life? And try to appreciate how much you've grown from there. There's these important transits with these T squares. It indicates on this full moon, we have to confront the reality of our current level of discipline. Saturn is just so pronounced right now. How disciplined are we, really? Because that might show where detrimental leaks of energy are happening in your life. If you don't have energy to work, that's something meaningful. Where are you lacking discipline in your life? Because that'll show where your energy is leaky. And you can really confront this right now. Um, and then you'll see how to keep working on things in the way that's right for you, fully aligned with your values. because Venus is involved. Venus also squares Jupiter. So consider where you can curb any overindulgence. You'll really be able to clean that up, especially as it's manifesting in relationship, gossip, worry, overly planning, and not taking enough action. This is a wonderful month with this retrograde to make lists. You gotta work at checking those things off. So, and then as Venus opposes Saturn on this full moon, it's a full moon. So I think relationships are ending. The ones that don't have the integrity. Venus opposite Saturn is you really just come to terms with, a relationship needs to end or it needs to find greater commitment. And so I think you're coming to terms with something on this full moon about, with one of your relationships about, seeing if you want more commitment or if you want to walk away from it. So just take a realistic approach and try to face whatever you need to face in one of your relationships, and you're going to do just fine. Sun square Uranus also, Sun and Moon are both square Uranus. So it shows there's immense changeability and restlessness in the air, and things are shifting. And if you embrace the unconventional Aquarian approach and just appreciate what makes you weird, what makes you different, what makes you offbeat, you can free yourself from whatever you were boxed in by in your life on this full moon. And it might be your own expectations boxing you in, your own ideas about who you are that you're getting free from. So consider this, and this might be tied to a relationship that's actually like fortifying that self-perception. So be brave, draw upon that Leo strength, to walk away from whatever's not meant for you. And keep your mind's eye open to seeing new ways of viewing your current difficulties, because that's what Aquarius is really good at. Aren't you, Aubrey?
I guess so, sometimes, not always.
Well, then we've got that moon moves on into Pisces, and it's waning now. I had a weird sense that because I really paid attention to this lunar cycle, and I noticed how when it was waxing, it was growing light on one side of the moon, and then it gets full, and then the other side is lit up. And I had this sense, this weird, visceral, mystical sense that I was like I was going inside my house, and it felt like it was facing the other direction. I don't know how to describe this, but it was as though we're in a different reality when the moon is waning as opposed to when it's waxing. It's like you can see it from a different reflection. Like you can reflect on it in an opposite way. I don't know. It's really weird. So as the moon wanes now at this later half of the month, you're going to start to see, you'll be really reflective, especially with the moon in Pisces, hitting Saturn and Neptune. You want to guard your emotions. Don't get depressed when that moon conjunct Saturn on the 20th and 21st. Just stay focused and stay positive. Got something in the chat here. Let me see. What's that? What it is? Oh. Oh, that was you, Aubrey. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, if you have to hop off, no problem. I can.
Yeah, I have a client reading coming up. I hate to miss the rest of this, but I love doing these with you. Thanks to everyone who joined us live, and Christian, we'll see you next month for the next one, and I'll be sure to listen to the end of this when the recording comes out. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything, Aubrey. You're awesome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your session. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Awesome. So the stage is mine. So basically then we just have the sun enter Virgo on the 22nd. And now we're in Virgo season, which is 30 days for greasing the gears. Virgo season is really good for honing our skills, improving our techniques, leaning into self-improvement overall, and developing more moderation. Moderation helps you taste the joys of life in abundance. Moderation it makes everything sweeter. Chocolate is sweeter. Your favorite whatever is just, everything is so much sweeter and fuller when we moderate it. So that's what Virgo's about seeing. And so Virgo season, it's an energy all about tuning things up, making things run more smoothly. And you just don't want to be too critical on yourself. You want to be honest with yourself, but avoid being critical. And you'll be glad for all the ways that you can see you can get more productive and tune up certain aspects of yourself. But you got to stay patient here, August 20th, 21st, 22nd, even all the way to the 25th, really up to the 28th, which is when Mercury comes out of retrograde. But you got to stay patient with all the processes in your life. Trust the process with this retrograde. And then Venus squares Mars on the 22nd. So this indicates a conflict in relationships. Relationships are having difficulty if they don't slow down and appreciate the little things. I think feminine energy with Venus and Virgo is especially frustrated with the masculine energy for his carelessness or over talkativeness or just dealing with things that don't matter as much, because Venus is seeing what matters in Virgo. And Mars and Gemini is still inflated by Jupiter. So it's still like, oh, I'm just going to hit everything with a wide stroke and I'll deal with that later. And hey, let's start this. And Venus is, in Virgo is like, we don't need to start anything else. We need to finish what we started. So passionate energy clashes with the desire for productivity. And we need to see how to skillfully channel this. It is high energy. We need to channel it romantically or creatively, wisely. Otherwise, we can get grumpy at this time, especially with our partners if you're in a relationship. But you can also just get grumpy with yourself too. So you want to manage that well. August 24th, it looks really good for communication. Even though Mercury is retrograding, it's working really well with Mars there, and it's going to sustain a sextile once it comes direct, and then it'll sextile Mars in Virgo when Mars is in Cancer, but that'll be in September. I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, the 24th, your mind can be very active that day, and you can easily find ways to put that active mind to your advantage if you stay connected to the heart, because Mercury is slowing down, and your approach could be different from how you would usually do it. How you would usually approach your tasks. It can be different. So that's a really good day for self-discovery. And that's pretty much this month in a nutshell. I mean, the 27th gives us another really good transit, which is Venus trine Uranus. So this is where you can find new ways to connect with others in ways that are fresh. And, if you made it through all the relationship difficulty stuff in this month, that's a transit that shows that you're really connecting based on the establishment of those values that you needed to communicate with your partner. So now things are getting more easily solidified and connected and stable. And you have it in you to shake things up at the end of August, to make certain connections or projects that have become stale, they can become fresh. And if whatever's become boring or monotonous, it can become renovated to be more full of life and fun and enthusiastic energy. So you may also tune into an openness to meet new people under this transit around the 27th and to explore different points of view. And doing so will help you creatively adjust a lot of things in your personal life just by gaining new insights and new perspectives and taking the advice of others with an open mind, and see if you can't apply it here at the end of August. On the 28th, Mercury comes direct. So the 28th at right around 2 p.m. Pacific time, Mercury retrograde is over. And this is while Venus is opposing Neptune. So this is about moving forward. And we can cue the confetti here, no more retrograde. So as it stations direct in Leo, you can really feel like you're starting to move forward with your creative urges and your plans and your projects. It's backed by wisdom now, especially with this Virgo energy. You can really be skillful with different things in your life because of your commitment to learning the lessons here in August. It's a lot of lessons to learn. Sorry, but those lessons make us better. So it's really fortunate. And just reflect on the insight that you've gained over the retrograde, especially as it pertains to your right to speak confidently, boldly, and with authority, you know, about what you can do and who you are, yet in a way that's grounded and humble and self-aware. And I think that's what this retrograde is serving to do, since it's retrograding in Virgo, coming back into Leo. It's all about owning your right to speak confidently, but to do so in a way that's grounded and humble. Venus opposite Neptune can really help you connect more deeply with others in a very psychic, empathic, compassionate way. And certain connections can start to feel especially magical. Just make sure you're seeing things clearly and have healthy boundaries at the end of the month, because you may spontaneously and psychically gain many understandings into the true nature of the people around you. But you can also be really idealistic, so you just want to be grounded. And then Venus enters Libra on the 29th. Hooray! So Venus enters her home sign. And this is such a powerful day on the 29th for relationships, because Venus is trine Pluto. So, wow. So Venus is here in Libra until September 22nd. And this turns on really creative, playful energy for romance, a lot of charisma and stylishness. And we can feel more desirous of a dance partner when Venus is in Libra. You know, somebody to tango with, somebody who's on our level. And so you're going to be more perceptive of who is around you that you can dance with, who is a fitting partner. And this could be in business or romance. You could see like, hey, we have something here. We could make something amazing. And so you're going to see who's willing and ready to tango with you, whether that's romance, business, adventure, or friendship. And it can get easier and more pleasant to get along with others and spend time with them with Venus here in Libra, especially Venus trine Pluto on that 29th. Intimacy is strengthened and made more transformative. So that's a Thursday, the 29th, and whoever you're connecting with right there on that day could really contribute to a positive transformation naturally and easily. So you can make a powerful intention at the end of August to be more authentic and more self-expressive and more creatively involved with the people in your life. Or you could effectively break out of fears that have held you back from leaning into partnership, you know, working harmoniously with people. And if even just simply identifying some of your deepest desires in relationship, and promise yourself that you'll be more open-hearted in that area of your life, you could really initiate that intention on that day, and it could be really, really positive. Also, if someone's catching your eye around that time, that would be the day to take action and introduce yourself. Okay. And then the month wraps up with the moon that returns into Leo. I'm going to join with Mercury. So it shows lots of ideas are being connected, lots of aha moments. And then we're getting ready for a new moon, which will be September 2nd, another early in the month new moon. So a lot of things coming home to you and being set in, being fully adjusted in yourself. So there's a lot of adjustment. There's a lot of transformation this month. And yeah, I think, you know, just a lot of growth, a lot of growth. And Saturn is at the crux of a lot of it. And Saturn is in Pisces, it's about spiritual discipline. So this is a month with a big opportunity to connect fully to that heart and to trust yourself and to love yourself and kick out any of the darkness that's, you know, still in there because of your unwillingness to see yourself fully and to hold yourself in a loving light. And it is about forgiving the unforgivable. It's about accepting the unacceptable. It's about finding the courage to do that. Because what's the alternative? World War III. That's how I see it. It's either peace or it's war. And right now it's not peace. So what are you going to choose? What are you going to choose in your own psyche, in your own personal life? And it's up to you. And what you choose changes the destiny of the world. So I think it's a momentous thing for us to do. And it starts with mom and dad, sun and moon, left and right. masculine, feminine. That's what created you. So start there. Forgive them. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this. We will see you in September for our masterclass of Virgo and September. And thank you so much. If you want to get a reading, make sure to go to mokshadestiny.com to reach Aubrey, or go to christianklausner.com, or you can hit the link in the description to schedule with me. That's probably the way to do it if my site is still down. And I just love you so much. We will see you in the next one. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.